This show is presented by the 323 Network. You can watch all your favorite 323 friends and shows on the 323 Network YouTube channel, follow us on all social media platforms at 323Reid, and support us as we continue to grow at patreon.com/323Reid. That's 323REID. It is Top 5 Tuesday, and today I'm going to try my best not to be a homer. I'm going to try my best not to be a Philly hater. I'm going to give you the best I got on offenses and on defenses in the NFL. And most importantly, we're going to try our best to use this sound at some point.
Duval.
Love that. Love that. It's Top 5 Tuesday on the 323, folks. Let's get it.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
This is the 323's Top 5.
Oh, shit. Here we go again.
I mean, you didn't hear any over that theme, so if you didn't hear it, I didn't hear it. Folks, welcome to the 323. I'm your host, Reid Murphy, here with another Top 5 Tuesday. On the show, as we get prepared for the NFL season, we're going to be giving you top fives on everything that we can to prep the NFL. And been studying, been doing research, addicted to this drug that we call football. And we'll be giving you things like top 5 quarterbacks, the top 5 non-quarterbacks, the top 5 breakout candidates, the top 5 offseason moves made, and all these things to go along with the fun top 5s that we have on the 323 Network, TikTok, and Instagram. Of course, you can find those at 323Reid, at 323REID on all social media. And today, folks, we're going to be giving you a double dose. We're going to be diving into the top 5 offenses in the NFL going into the 2025 season and the top 5 defenses in the NFL going into the 2025 season. And we're going to start because I'm a defensive guy at heart. Like I went into a whole rant before about defense guru and lover on a 0-9-1 Stafford High football team. We're going to start with defense here and get into the expertise and the most fun here, and what I view as the most fun and something that is a true impact on your championship ability. We've seen it with the Kansas City Chiefs and the dynasty that they produced over the years under Steve Spagnuolo's tenure as the defensive coordinator. We've seen it with the Philadelphia Eagles last year and how they were able to just completely neuter and destroy Patrick Mahomes and his magic ability there with Kansas City because of a wildly unpredictable and impressive defense that they have. So where are these teams going to rank on our top 5 going into the 2025 season? Maybe not as high as you think. Will it be a championship contender? Almost definitely. All of these teams can be contenders with the defense that they have in place, and that includes the OLIs. Just these couple of teams that didn't quite crack the top 5, but they're worthy of consideration. That includes the Vikings, the Minnesota Vikings under defensive coordinator Brian Flores. They have been dramatically improved. They even got rid of Danielle Hunter, their star pass rusher, and still managed to improve by getting somebody like Jonathan Greenard from Houston, almost a little switch up there, and just became an unpredictable force last season. Can they continue to do that? Remains to be seen. We're going to see this year. Defensive backs worry me a little bit with that team. They kind of always have in the secondary. But I still like the Vikings as just this kind of wild card threat. The same goes for the Green Bay Packers. I loved what they did last year under their new DC, but still just worry about the same general thing with defenses. If the offense isn't producing as well as they should, defense is going to suffer a little bit for it and can only hold for so long. They just lost Jair Alexander. Is it a big loss? Don't know, because he only played so many games over the last few years. He's an awesome threat. But they still have guys like Eric Stokes who can produce for them in the secondary. Other team that just is short, just didn't make it. Might shock some people, the Detroit Lions. OLI. So much talent across that team. And it will not shock me having them as an OLI right now, and that team winds up being like number 2 or number 1 in terms of ranked defenses by the end of the 2025 season. The only thing that I worry about with them is consistency, injuries, and new coaching. They lost their defensive coordinator in Aaron Glenn. They will promote internally as teams do, but will that consistency hurt them? And you tie up consistency with their injuries. This is a team that was a threat at the start of last season, and it just lost starter after starter after starter after starter. They do have their superstar in Aiden Hutchinson, an incredible edge rusher, an incredible run stopper, a just complete game wrecker. On defense, coming back from injury, it's just about staying healthy for this team. That's what concerns me. They have a lot of young star potential on the defense, but I just get worried about them being able to stay there, and the loss of Aaron Glenn at DC, who, for whatever complaints you can give, was an incredible leader of that team and somebody who would shake shit up. So we'll see what happens with Detroit here, but number 5 on my list, get ready to argue with me. It's fine. Number 5, I got the Houston Texans. Houston is, under D'Amico Ryans, been fun. And this is why I have them at number 5. For me personally, my top 5 defenses that I'm looking forward to going into the 2025 NFL season, because they are literal havoc wreckers. Everything about them, their whole definition is just havoc. And that's what you see from them. Are you getting high risk? Yes. They have big risk potential, as you saw on Christmas last year against the Kansas City Chiefs, where they just got blown out. But you have plenty of other games where their reward potential is just massive, because they will come at you in every single way, at every angle, from whole different types of positions, and just hothead dudes who are ready to risk it all to fuck up your offense and wreck your game plan. They just added C.J. Gardner-Johnson from Philly. The absolute definition of that at safety. He is just a menace and a mercenary, and on a team of mercenaries led by awesome youth in like Will Anderson. I almost called him Will Johnson. Will Anderson, the edge rusher from Bama, paired up with Daniil Hunter, who they traded for before. Some really cool youth at linebacker, a great D-line, and potentially the best corner in the game, or somebody who could be the best corner in the game, and Derek Stingley Jr., who has just lived up to everything he was supposed to be in rivaling Sauce Gardner in their draft class. This is a team that's going to be just a wild card. Could be a true wild card in the league when it's all said and done. But it's just somebody that on any given day can ruin your day. And I like that. Number 4, another team like this, but has actual championship aspirations and championship credentials on them. Number 4 is the Kansas City Chiefs. Chiefs on defense, I mean, like, so long as they have Steve Spagnuolo coaching that defense, a defensive coordinator, and Chris Jones healthy, who I view as one of the very best players in this league, I got no fears with them, or no fears for them, I should say. I'm always fearful of them. It does suck that they lost their star safety, Justin Reid, but I can really see Jaden Hicks, a young developmental star for them, starting to step up and continue Casey's trend of developing young defensive backs and creating stars out of them to, have alongside a truly bona fide lockdown menace in Trent McDuffie, who I think is one of the most underrated players in this league. He should be right up there in the conversation with Pat Surtain II, Derek Stingley, Sauce Gardner, whoever you want to throw up there. Trent McDuffie, somebody that scares you as a receiver, as an offensive coordinator, somebody that you have to go up against. The Chiefs, their defense, as much as people want to talk about Mahomes, as much as people want to talk about Kelsey, that defense from the start has been the secret sauce and the weapon X to their dynasty. So losing Justin Reid hurts. Health, injury, concern, that is always a problem. But as long as you got Spags, man, you're going to be in the top 5. Number 3, though, keep them in the same division in the AFC West, the Denver Broncos. This was already a team that stepped up way over expectations last season. They have been just a pass rushing specialty. Why can't I not say words like that? A pass rush specialty under defensive coordinator Vance Joseph, which, funny and awkward, used to be their head coach. Came back, now he's got a smaller office and a lot less responsibility and having a lot more fun, and you can see it with this kind of team. And not only were they a threat last year with the reigning defensive player of the year in Pat Surtain II. Like, Surtain is always a threat, but now you're adding dudes from, like, San Francisco, who I will be the first to admit it's a little high risk, high reward with them when it comes to injuries and also, like, what they bring as leaders and what they bring as consistent threats. Like, we have, who is it? Dre Greenlaw and Talanoa Hufanga. Hopefully I said that right. For whatever reason, Scott's the better with pronunciations on these names. Comes from the college help. But they're bringing them in from San Francisco in free agency, and they should be worthy helps and worthy threats for that defense to help them out. And you draft Jahdae Barron, who honestly was like a steal for that team and should be an incredibly versatile help, whether it's going to be an outside corner, slot, safety kind of work, to, you know, go alongside the studs that you had on that defense alongside Surtain last year, and Riley Moss, who was a solid cornerback too, solid lunch pail guy too. And Brandon Jones, who was a stud safety and a breakout last year. And like I said, this trench that they've got in an incredibly deep defensive line led by DJ Jones, who they got to re-sign. And it's a defensive line that saw 6 different players record at least 5 sacks. What are you supposed to do against them? They are just going to be a fun defense. They're going to be a threat. They could be the team that, like, knocks Kansas City off of their mantle a little bit. And I'm just looking forward to seeing what Vance Joseph does with them, especially as a guy who could be their Spags, somebody who's happy being a defensive coordinator now. Gonna be fun to watch. Number 2, a team that's not as fun to watch for me. Honestly, they're just not fun for me. I don't like them. It's the Philadelphia Eagles. I hate them. I'll go on the record. I hate them. I hate the Eagles because they're so damn good. And they've just gotten better and better, and GM Howie Roseman has just helped them grow more and more, just all the right ways. They even lost some veterans this past offseason, like Darius Slay, CJ Gardner-Johnson, who not too big of a loss. Brandon Graham was a great leadership presence, but he's, 60 at this point. Only major losses for me from Philly are Josh Sweat, who's an ace pass rusher, and Milton Williams, who is an awesome defensive tackle and an interior lineman, which would suck for most teams, but it isn't too much of a loss when you have so many young stars with huge potential and huge chances to still develop, like Nolan Smith and Kobe Dean and bona fide superstars on your defensive line, and Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis. You got defensive backs like Quinyon Mitchell, a couple of gritty lunch pail guys in Cooper DeJean and Reid Blankenship, who are on your defensive back. White guys. Gotta love him. And extended Zach Bond at linebacker. And then you draft Bama's Jihad Campbell, who is one of my favorite players coming to this draft and favorite defensive studs, somebody I was hoping Washington would get. What are you supposed to do against them? They're going to hurt you. They're going to hurt my baby boy. Protect Jaden at all costs. Keep him away from Philly, but we got to play him twice a year, and that's the kind of defense that I'm scared of, and the type of defense that is going to give championship offenses like Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs fits in the Super Bowl when it comes time to face them. We saw it in the playoffs. Perfect example was against the LA Rams in the, I believe, divisional round of the playoffs, where what the hell is Matt Stafford and the Rams supposed to do when you have a drive that could have been potentially leading to overtime between the Rams and the Eagles, that Jalen Carter, interior lineman, just decides to take over? You could not do anything to stop him. And that would go game to game to game over who's going to take over on that defense. That's what you dream of. It's what you dream of, yet they're still not number one. They're still not number one because at number one, I have the Baltimore Ravens. Baltimore Ravens are just consistently one of the scary defenses in the NFL, and got a new defensive coordinator last year in Zach Orr, and it's something that we saw before under Mike McDonald at defensive coordinator, where things started out sketchy at the beginning of the season. It was a team that could be beat. The Raiders beat them. And we're just having fits on defense, having mismatches, everything wasn't in order, and as the season went on, you started to see everything come into place. You started to see all the players start to mesh, all their stars start to really, shine. Where's that tinkle? That's Marlon Humphrey running across your secondary. And this is a defense that just got better and better as the season went, and into the postseason became a legitimate threat. Now, as they tend to do, they continue to just sneak away and stow away guys and, underrated stars and just drops in the draft. They managed to add Georgia's Malachi Starks, a beast at safety, and Marshall's Mike Green, a little bit of controversy, but should be an awesome pass rush threat for them. It feels unfair. And then they just pick up Jair Alexander and Chidobe Awuzie as depth in the secondary for Marlon Humphrey and somebody who I believe is going to be one of the rising best young stars in this league, Nate Wiggins, who was already a great threat in a young secondary last year. This is a defense that stays consistent. This is a defense that is growing and getting better and developing, and I think will be truly a downright menace, game-wrecking, championship-building unit from the start to the end of the season. That's your top 5 defenses going into the 2025 NFL season. Again, Ravens at 1, Eagles 2, Broncos 3, Chiefs at 4, and Texans at 5. When we come back from the whoosh, we will be giving you your top 5 offenses going into the 2025 NFL season. Stay with us, folks. Yes, folks, we are back, and it's the top 5 offenses in the NFL. Now, that's the meat and potatoes, as we like to say here. The meat and potatoes going into the league year of 2025, and this is where all your stars are and where a lot of controversy can happen on this list, right? I went back and forth on a lot of placements here, especially just trying to get into the top 5, like OLIs. The honorable mentions here, outside looking in. I got the Kansas City Chiefs, man. They didn't make the top 5 on this thing. That's Patrick Mahomes and a skinny Travis Kelce, and maybe a fat Patrick Mahomes, according to some Kansas City radio hosts. Patrick Mahomes. They couldn't crack it for me just because, while it's close, should Rashee Rice return fully healthy and avoid major suspension going into this season, you pair him up with a breakout young receiver in Xavier Worthy. You got a true threat. I still don't love their run game, and O-line's a little dicey at times, hasn't been the best that it could be, so they can't quite make it on there. I think they're starting to fall off a little bit. Other teams are catching up, because as you're going to see through this list, it's just hard. It's hard to place. Rams are an OLI for me. I love. They lost Cooper Kupp, gave him away, sent him to Seattle in the division, which is nasty work. Nasty work, but it usually tells you something. I've learned. Donovan McNabb, Deshaun Jackson. But I love their addition in Devontae Adams. I think that is an actual improvement over Cooper Kupp for your number 2 receiver, because Puka Nacua will be your true number 1, and they managed to keep some continuity by re-signing Tutu Atwell. Hopefully Kyron Williams stays healthy at running back, but you can't trust it, and I don't quite know yet what they have with Blake Corum alongside a mid to good O-line and a continuously aging quarterback in Matt Stafford, who's still a dog, but you know, we're getting up there. At some point that the cliff is going to be there. The cliff will be there for him, and one of the toughest players in league history, the hits will catch him. And final OLI here, the Washington Commanders. Try not to be a homer. Like I said, I can't. I've gotta keep the rose-colored glasses or the burgundy-colored glasses off. But I still view this as a tough-ass offense and a fun-ass offense. You have a vastly improved offensive line with the additions of traded for left tackle Laramie Tunsil from the Houston Texans, who still has a lot of gas in him, even at 30. And they drafted Josh Connerly Jr. from Oregon, who can really, both dudes being, having your tackles solidified are going to help boost the team's development. Of their rookies like Brandon Coleman, who was tackle last year. He's going to move to guard. I think that's a much better fit for him. It's going to help when Sam Cosmi comes back from his injury. But most importantly, it helps develop your rookie phenom in Jaden Daniels, your franchise quarterback. Only issue for me here is not only age amongst the team, which I think our average is at 28, at least before the signing of Von Miller, who's 35. It still feels like receiver can be an issue if the investment in your aging gadget receiver from San Francisco, Deebo Samuel, doesn't pan out. Because you hope that there's more gas there, that there's an in-shape kind of thing going for him. But if it doesn't work out, you're kind of a little bit screwed. He's got to maybe be better than Olamide Zaccheaus, who was awesome. And you get Noah Brown back. But am I relying on Noah Brown and KJ Osborne? No. Hoping not to. And you still have a contract issue with Terry McLaurin, who's also starting to age. He's awesome. He's scary. But you want to start to see something that's going to grow with Jaden over time. Tight end could continue to help you there, but you're, again, getting the last fumes of Zach Ertz. You re-signed John Bates, who's awesome, and you have a versatile impact potential breakout in Ben Sinnott. There's just a lot of things that are left to be desired with Washington, and I can't quite put them on number 5, but they didn't make an argument and a case with my actual number 5, and shout out Scott Elliott's the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Baker Mayfield, dude, he's got the goods. He's low-key an MVP candidate in a loaded and ultimately fun offense that you first think is led by an aging star in Mike Evans, who gonna be a Hall of Famer. Don't want to hear any arguments about it. He will be a Hall of Famer, first ballot Hall of Famer. And you have Chris Godwin, who's recovering from a terrible injury last year. Should be back. Should be, you hope, back to the same speed, because he was going crazy for Tampa last year. But you now boast a sneaky Rookie of the Year contender in Emeka Egbuka, your first-round wide receiver, and you have a great running threat crew, just a unit led by rookie sensation last year, Bucky Irving, but you also still get Rachaad White and Sean Tucker in there. And as I mentioned before, arguably the best offensive tackle in the league, and Tristan Wirfs, who just completely shoots up a really, really solid offensive line. Only downside is you have a new offensive coordinator in the internally promoted Josh Grizz Gang. And this comes after losing your, potential magic of the team and potential magic of the offense from Liam Cohen, who went to Duval. Got that in there. But you're talking about losing magic with Cohen. You didn't lose it when you lost your previous offensive coordinator, Dave Canales, to Carolina just the year before. So this could be a Baker thing. This could be a Tampa Magic kind of thing. We're going to find out this year. I would bet that they're going to be pretty damn good. Another team that's going to be pretty damn good in an offense that is going to be consistent and has some great continuity here. Number 4, might be a shock to some people, the Buffalo Bills. Yeah, I got the Bills low. I might be literally insane to rank this Bills offense and the reigning MVP and Josh Allen so low. But I'm not crazy about the cast on this offense. I can feel a little confident in putting them at 4, putting them above Tampa, putting them above Washington. But it's like, last year they can light you up under the power of Josh Allen. But I want to love an offense that can lose its star quarterback and still be a threat. I'm not confident in this team if they lose Josh Allen. He is their offense. And James Cook is a stud at running back, but I don't absolutely fear him or his consistency. And the same can be said for the wide receiver core, which is led by a legitimately solid Khalil Shakir, who's developed and risen awesomely and got his money. And you could have a breakout in Keon Coleman, who I really do love as a receiver and loved his time at FSU. And then you have the face of inconsistency in Dalton Kincaid at tight end. I don't know, man. I just can't trust them. I can see, it's one of those things where, I can see this team being great and the offense being a powerhouse, but I could also see them taking a legitimate step back. So time will tell, but I've got them at number 4. Number 3, team that I could see take a little bit of a step back too, but still be just a menace. Again, I hate them. On offense, number 3, the Philadelphia Eagles. I hate that they have their 3rd new offensive coordinator in as many years. But how can you doubt the league's best offensive line? It is truly the best offensive line, led by, again, 2 arguable best tackles in the league, Jordan Mailata and Lane Johnson. You also have 2 superstar wide receivers in A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. You have a true and tested leader and dog in Jalen Hurts. And obviously you have somebody who was arguably the league MVP last year in Saquon Barkley, putting up 2,000 yards. A 2,000-yard season. Could have broken the overall league record last year if they had wanted to and wanted to test that. And obviously, you're probably going to take a step back at running. Your running back having a 2,000-yard season, probably it's going to be a step back, but step back from 2,000 yards, shit, that's great. This is still going to be a tough-ass offense, but not as tough as my number 1. Or my number 2, for that matter, because we got to get to 2 first. Number 2, the Detroit Lions. Lions, ballers, scary, grit. Grit is the best way to always describe them, and you lost one of your true grit guys in Frank Ragnow at center. That sucks, but still remains an awesome O-line led by Penei Sewell, who is just a monster in every definition of the word. And this is also going along with truly terrifying receiver threats in Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jamison Williams, Sam Laporta at tight end, and by far the most exciting run game combo in the law firm of Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery. Just true lightning and thunder. I think Jahmyr Gibbs, for giving a little preview for the fantasy season, I think he's going to have one of the best running back seasons in years. And that's coming off 2,000 yards from Saquon. But the problem for me in Detroit is you have a new offensive coordinator in Josh Morton. And is that going to hurt? Losing somebody like Ben Johnson, who was viewed as just a genius and an offensive guru and somebody who was crazy experimental and very fun for this team. It's gonna be a little bit of a mess probably at the start. Honestly, going to be a little bit inconsistent. Maybe things tune up though as the season goes, and also your quarterback Jared Goff. Is he going to remain a fringe MVP candidate, or is he going to fall into old habits again in the postseason like we saw against Washington, where just whatever like Rams Jared Goff came out? Still a fringe MVP candidate and somebody who's worthy of leading this badass of an offense. I got him at number 2, but again, number 1. And I don't like this team. I don't like this city. I honestly hate the city. It scares me. Awesome aquarium though, but number 1 on my offense is Baltimore Ravens. Because I mean, it's Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry leading the show, so yeah, they're gonna be tough. They're gonna be rough. And then you add in somebody like DeAndre Hopkins, who is legitimately a perfect Baltimore free agent wide receiver. Old, used to be a superstar, probably still gonna give you about 900 yards, maybe 1,000. Gonna give you some great touchdowns too if he can stay healthy. I mean, he was still a star in Kansas City for a bunch of different games last year. Disappeared a little bit in the Super Bowl, but what can you ask for? And you just need him to be a part of a load of teasing depth of wide receivers and potential talents who are just going to taunt you with their talent but never really take off. So looking at you, Rashad Bateman and Isaiah Likely. Get your toes in. Do those exercises there. You just need those guys to help out Zay Flowers. And you got a stud star there. A very menacing offensive line led by a thankfully extended Ronnie Stanley. And young stars in Roger Rosengarten and Tyler Linderbaum. Hell of a name for an offensive line, man. A lot of names there. A lot of words, a lot of letters. Overall, all you need is Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry to stay healthy. Even if Lamar goes down, Cooper Rush is the number 2. I actually like him in Todd Monken's offense. Keep Derrick Henry healthy or continue to utilize some of that running threat that you have along this team. Baltimore's always great with that. Can be a little inconsistent, but when the time is right, they will step up, and it's going to be nearly impossible to take them down all year. So number 1 on offense, I have the Baltimore Ravens. 2, the Lions. 3, the Eagles. 4, the Bills. And 5, the Buccaneers. Let me know what I'm right or wrong about. Argue with me. That's what the comment section is for. Get toxic. Or go to @323 College Shame Day and tell Scott Elliott why the Bucs shouldn't be in the top 5 here. We're going to get you more top 5s as the Tuesdays come. As we get closer to the NFL season, subscribe to the 323 Network on YouTube. Follow the show on all of whatever platforms you use to listen to us, whether it's Apple, Spotify, whatever Jay-Z's app used to be. If that's still around, we can get on there. No Diddy. Follow us as we get closer to the NFL season. And, of course, all social media @323Reid, @323REID. Meantime, folks, we will see you next Tuesday for a little more of the NFL Top 5s. Stay safe, folks.
Duval.